Understanding conflict. You versus them. Our topic today is understanding conflict. Just look at those lions. I mean, they are ferocious. Look at those teeth. They're ready to go at each other. Now, that represents conflict if I've ever seen it. You versus them. It's hard to come to work or to work in an environment that's hostile and has a whole bunch of conflict. Today, we want to discuss how to understand this conflict, how to resolve the conflict, how to work around conflict. Whether you're working in a work environment or in your lifestyle, is understanding conflict because it's you versus them and everybody's angry because it is a hostile environment. How do we work around this? Well, the definition of workplace conflict, let's talk about it. These conflicts can arise from differences in opinions. Workplace conflict refers to any type of conflict that can have disagreement, tension between individuals, clients, residents, or groups in a professional setting or in a home-like setting. I say workplace conflict because that's our topic today. We're going to zero in on workplace conflict. But I want you to understand that conflict can happen because of different personalities. These conflicts can arise from differences in opinions, values, interests, and they can impact what we do and how we work with other people. There's importance in addressing conflict quickly. Adhering, addressing conflict promptly and effectively is crucial for maintaining a positive and productive work environment. Because if you don't deal with the conflict, it just grows like a weed. Unresolved conflict can lead to it can lead to decrease of morality or morale in the workplace. It can reduce effectiveness. It can reduce efficiency. It can reduce teamwork and team building. Sometimes you feel like you're in a ring with a boxer because you're dealing with conflict on a day-to-day basis. And that in itself can be a hostile environment. Who wants to work in a hostile environment? An example of conflict at the workplace could be where you're working with, let's say you're working with clients, the homeless population, or other clients that have mental health issues, or they have substance abuse issues, or childhood traumas. These very things that they have, you too may have. You bring it in. Your own issues, your home life issues, whatever issues you may have, you bring it to work, and that creates a conflict. It's a host of different people working together in different environments, different backgrounds, and they all come with certain anxieties or depression or other mood disorder. Just imagine working with some people that rather communicate with email and they old school, and some people want to communicate with emojis on the cell phone. Some people rather send, I sent you a text, you didn't reply. All of this can create discord in the work environment and have a conflict. It could be misunderstandings and frustration that cause tension between the groups of people working together. That's a conflict in the workplace. And it can be created because different people communicate different ways. Once again, conflict. And sometimes you don't even know why you have a conflict. But there's 4 ways that I want to share with you, but you can add to this list at any time that you want to. How you can create more happiness at the workplace. Just bring positivity to work every day. Bring it to work. Bring positive affirmations, whatever you need to create your positive attitude. Bring it to the workplace. Have understanding that you're doing meaningful work. You're doing the job because you enjoy what you do. You're doing it because you have gratitude and respect for what you do. You find your job to be meaningful and purposeful. Also, you need to create happiness by having a good work and social life balance. You have to balance, and you have to have good boundaries, healthy boundaries from your professional life so that you will not have burnout or that it would not create a unbalance where you're working too hard and you don't appreciate what you do. So make sure you have a balance in your life and keep learning new things. When you continue to learn new things, whether on the job or outside the job, it keeps your brain charged. Find new ways you can do your job better and more effectively, and when you do that, you engage in staff development like you might be doing right now. It enhances your ability to work together as a team. It takes all of us to create positivity, and you can do that by bringing positivity to work. Understand gratitude in your work, have a good life at work balance, have boundaries, professional boundaries, and continue to learn new things. On the job, you can always enhance your skill level. So do those things and make sure that you stay motivated, because many people are working with a homeless population. If you're working with a homeless population, that's a very difficult population to work with. But if you stay positive, reflect on the bigger picture, reflect on the impact that you would have working for others or working with other, and keep professional boundaries. Understand that if you have healthy boundaries, you can do a better job and see the results. Keep your eye on the big picture. It's not personal, it's all business. You're here to support somebody in a homeless population that may need you to understand that the results that you see them in the future, they will look much better in the future than they do right now because they're down and out. But keep your eye on the big picture, because our big picture in our community is that we unify families, that we unify our family unit, that we help our youth and we balance our youth. So it's not personal, it's all business as we work in a positive and take a positive impact on those that we serve. So make sure that you keep that in mind. Keep the big picture in mind. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you work? If you don't have a sensitivity or empathy for the population you serve, then maybe you need to look for a better job. But instead, if you can see the big picture and see how what you're doing is motivating others and you see the results, you'll stay motivated and it'll be less conflict. Because as we say, it's you versus them. So the them is the other people that you have to work with, whether it's co-workers, whether it's the population you serve, maybe is a homeless person or a mental health person. It's you versus them, but I'm telling you that the conflict is created because it's really you versus you. Surprise? Yes, yes, yes. It's you versus you. You bring the negativity to work. You bring things to the arena that didn't exist. So with you versus you, we need a reality check on that. And that reality check is for you to ask yourself to relax and reflect before you speak. Don't bring negativity into the room if negativity is not in the room. Follow company protocol. Also, because you're really fighting against yourself. It's not you versus them, it's you versus you. You have pride. Is this a pride that you bring into the room that creates the conflict? What part have you self-developed on you? Is it your low self-esteem that continues to bring you into relationships that don't allow you to grow? Have you learned to love yourself? Are you aware of what you need to recover and start to love yourself to live a healthy life? I'm just telling you these things because it's very important that you take personal inventory of you versus you and not somebody else. But what are you doing? Look in the mirror. That's a lady looking in the mirror, and she needs to look in the mirror. She needs to love herself. And that's what you need to do. Then you can bring a positive attitude into the rooms when you walk in. I have a brief testimony of how when I was young, I had childhood trauma because they told me I had to go to speech class. I may still have to go to speech class. Some of you may feel that today. But today I've been renewed from that because I believe it's all lies. It's all lies that creates childhood trauma that you live with. So I was a shy young girl. If they had an oral presentation, I would not do the oral presentation because I was shy. And I was shy because they told me I had a speech impediment. Every people would go home from school. I had to go to an after school program. And that was my childhood trauma. But let me tell you, I started looking in the mirror and I started doing personal inventory. How can I get over this? How can I overcome this? And I'm telling you, it's all lies, because when I read the Bible, it says God created man and he was well pleased with them. And so if he was well pleased, then he didn't make no mistake when he made me with a speech impediment. And I thought about Moses. Oh, yes, I did. And Moses said, I can't go and free the people from Egypt because I have a speech impediment. I really relate to him. So right now, I took personal inventory, and I'm not trying to fix somebody else. I'm not trying to create a conflict with somebody else. I'm just trying to improve on me. And that's what I'm telling you. It's you versus you. When it's you versus you, then you can handle the situation. So I'm telling you, hurting people hurt people. When individuals focus on changing who you are, and that's exactly what I did. When individuals are experiencing their own pain and distress, they're most likely going to lash out into other people. Emotional wounds can lead to negative behavior, and it's a defense mechanism. Peel away the layers of denial, low self-esteem, and regret. That's what I tried to do. I tried to peel away those layers of denial and low self-esteem and regret. I want to focus on quality. My own negative past experience can influence your current behavior. So encourage yourself. Encourage yourself with positive words. Check your ego at the door. If you have one, check it at the door and just prepare to make a change. There's a book written by Martin Luther King, a real small book called Measure of a Man. And I just want to share with you in that particular book, he said, and I'm going to paraphrase, so it's not just quoted out the book. But what I remember about the book that made an impact on my life is every individual has a responsibility to concern himself about himself and to discover what he or she is made for and made of. What gifts and talents did I have to give and to communicate with our society? Not my trauma, but what gifts and talents. And he said in the book also that I should seek to do a good job, whether it's anybody living or dead or unborn, that they wouldn't do it better, because I was called to do what I'm called to do. You're called to do what you're called to do. So I'm suggesting to you to encourage yourself with positive words and know that this is not the conflict that you're having. It's not you versus them. It's you versus you. So improve on yourself. No matter how small, make small steps until you improve, because I believe you can do this. I did it. You are a winner. You can do this. Just take the small steps until you reach your goal and understand that God called you for a purpose. I believe that God has called ordinary people to do extraordinary things, and you are one of those people that are called to do extraordinary things. And if you take small steps, don't be afraid. There's also, I wanted to share with you that we can't change other people. We can only change ourselves. The serenity prayer says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that's what I'm telling you to do. You are a winner. You can make a change. The conflict is not you versus them, is you versus you. And I want you to step out, because you can do it. Understanding that, like I said, it's not you versus them, the angry lions at the top, but take a reality check. It's not you versus them, how you're gonna work through a colleague that's not what you expect them to be, or how a client is not what you expect them to be, or how a spouse or a child or anybody you co-labor with is not what you expect them to be, because it's not about you versus them and there's a conflict. Take a reality check. You cannot change others, but you can definitely change yourself, because it's you versus you. And what are you going to do about it? I think